Hey there guys, I'm SonicGhost and welcome back to some more Let's Play Splatoon 2 Octo expansion. Last time, we finished making our way through the A line and we unlocked ourselves another part of the Metro map here, the C line. So in today's episode, we're going to go ahead and continue to explore more of the Deep Sea Metro here and go off of one of these new lines that we've now unlocked. But before we begin, you may notice that my Octoling has changed over to the boy design with the mohawk. So now that we're going to a different line, I figured this would be a good time to change my Octarian design. Just like how we did with the single player campaign here in Splatoon 2, every once in a while we'll go ahead and change our designs up. So this time around we're going to be rocking the Octarian boy design. So let's go ahead and make our way over to the B line. We can continue on the C line here since that's where we ended last time around, but since we unlocked B first, I want to go ahead and make our way through this section. So let's go ahead and go through B16 here. As 50 yellow balloons go by, Pop Rock Station. So here we have a choice of 3 different weapons. The Blaster and Splat Bomb, Slosher and Splat Bomb, and the Splatter Shot and a Splat Bomb. Which the Splatter Shot is our recommended weapon, and that's what we're going to be starting with. So let's go ahead and pick our weapon and talk to Sea Cucumber here to see what this mission's all about. Please pop all 50 target balloons. If you leave a single balloon unpopped, you'll fail. And the balloons will float away quickly, so don't waste any time. Jump on in and we'll get started. Take care out there. Let's go ahead and begin the mission here. Now, while this weapon may be recommended, in some ways this might be one of the harder weapons to use for the said mission, which is why it actually pays out the most here compared to some of the other weapons. So that's a thing you'll notice in these missions. If a weapon doesn't really pay out all that much, it may be because it's actually one of the easier weapons for the said mission. And if it pays out more, it could be considered the mission's hard mode. So pay attention to how much of a reward you'll get for certain missions to know which weapon could be actually the easier one or not. Because sometimes using a recommended weapon isn't always the best idea. But here we're doing a pretty good job so far. We need to pop all these balloons, and if you start hearing a little timer go off in the background, that means the balloon is just about ready to fly away. If a balloon flies away, then you fail the mission and have to start from the very beginning. So you really want to keep a track of these balloons and just keep on moving. Don't let a single one of these things out of your sight. I don't really recommend using bombs here because they don't really help all that much. Just keep an eye on the balloons and just keep on shooting them with your weapon of choice. One more left, just go ahead and do a quick turnaround, shoot our last balloon, and there you go. We passed the test. That's all the balloons popped, so Pop Rock Station is now completed. Or at least it would be if we did all the other weapons. You know the drill at this point, we need to go back and take a look at the other 2 weapon types. So let's go ahead and jump back in to Pop Rock Station here and see how the other weapons compare to using the Splatter Shot here for popping balloons. So now let's go ahead and work our way backwards. So let's pick the Slosher next, as the reward here is a little bit less at 800. But in some ways, you may find using the Slosher here easier than using the Splatter Shot. And you'll see why I think this is a little bit easier in comparison in just a moment. There we go, balloon time. With the Slosher, we have a pretty good range with our attack, and this can actually go over walls, so doing so actually kind of makes it a little bit easier to hit multiple balloons with one shot. Here, for example, I could hit multiple balloons by just sloshing in one specific area. I got 2 balloons in one go. So this is what I mean with certain weapons being easier for certain missions. Sometimes the recommended isn't actually the best idea. So just kind of experiment with weapons in these said missions. One of my favorite things about the Octo expansion. The fact they give you multiple weapons to choose from in missions, it allows you to experiment with multiple weapon types and kind of figure out what works best for you, as not one specific weapon will work for everyone. Maybe a certain weapon type in the game you're just not really all that comfortable using, or just not really all that good with, if you want to be honest. There's just certain weapons that are really hard to use and have a pretty big learning curve. Slosher, in my opinion, is one of those weapons that have kind of a high learning curve, but in this mission, it's a really good weapon. In my opinion, much easier than using the Splatter Shot. But that's the Slosher all done. Now let's go ahead and do this mission one more time with a Blaster. one more weapon to pick, so let's go ahead and equip the blaster and get this mission started. So this one pays out the least, paying only about 700 CQ points, but there's a reason why. This one can easily hit multiple balloons, so if you get your aim just right, you can hit multiple balloons with one shot, making this probably the easiest of the 3 different weapon types for this said mission. So I'm just going to be very careful with my aim, because the biggest problem with this weapon is it's very, very slow. So you have to compensate for the slow speed of the blaster, but as its trade-off, you get a pretty big shot radius here, and it's a very powerful weapon to boot. So this is honestly, in my opinion, probably the easy mode of the mission, but if you're not comfortable using this said weapon, the Slosher might be the easier one for you to pick. Again, these kind of missions are a great way for you to experiment with the different weapon types, just to see what kind of weapons work best for you. As blasters, they're kind of a hit or miss weapon depending on the type of blaster you use for people. Some people may like this weapon a lot, and some people just really don't care for it. It kind of just depends on the weapon itself. But for this mission, the blaster is really good. With that, we are done with Pop Rock Station. All 3 weapons are used, got all our CQ points, let's get out of here. So now that we're done with that mission, we can go ahead and continue forward, but I want to take a look at the mem cake we got from that first. This is the Octoling mem cake. Though parted by the ocean deep, my oldest friend, we meet again. I touch your face, you rouse from sleep. Man, it's very deep, maybe like the deep sleep that the said Octoling was in. This one definitely looks like she means business though. She definitely looks like the Octolings we've been finding in some of these levels, specifically some of the more multiplayer focused map levels. Looks fierce, looks deadly, and looks like she means business. Pretty nice design. But now let's go ahead and continue forward here. Let's go up to Heads Up, Missiles Up, Ink from Above Station. So here we have no weapons to choose from actually. This mission you go entirely weaponless, but you get a lot of CQ points for completing it. Take care to avoid the missiles fired by the missile octocopter. If you're under a roof, you should be safe. And please watch your step. Take care out there. Let's go ahead and begin the mission. Missile octocopter! Careful, those things can fire on you from a long way off. Or missile copter for short. So just like Pearl Marina here is saying, well, mainly Marina, this thing can fire at you from wherever you're at here in the map. And it's pretty deadly, but there is a pretty big target radius here. So we're just gonna wait here a second, and we can see on the ground there's all these different circles. That is where the missiles are gonna be fired. So in this case, we need to bait this Octoling here, if it can actually pay attention to me. Well, over here, buddy. We need to bait this guy to actually shoot down a lot of obstacles in our way. So here, I'm just gonna wait for missiles to fire, and use those said missiles to open up a path here to a key. But you gotta be very careful, because a couple missiles hitting you will take away your shields, making you very, very vulnerable to another attack. So this is one of those missions where you really gotta keep on moving. You don't wanna stay still for too long, because if you do, you're a sitting duck, essentially. So, get moving. For eels, it can spot you from that far away? Oh, something's here. Yeah, the switch to continue forward. We want to go ahead and hit the little target, because that will make a platform move, and now we can use the said platform to ride to the other side here, which is very helpful for our sake. Up here, we got a sponge. We want to go ahead and stand on this, and get ourselves a nice shield, which is going to help in case we get hit. But notice here, we can actually shrink down these sponges, and one of them reveals a little grating that we can actually slide under. Doesn't look like I got enough of it revealed, so I'm gonna need you to shoot this again, buddy. Now with that, we should be able to slide through the metal, and sure enough, here's a weapon. Let's grab that weapon and fire, 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 as Cuttlefish says. So we got ourselves some dualies here, specifically the Googla dualies. So now we have a weapon to fight against our enemy here, but we still can't get to the octocopter just yet. He's too far away. So now we gotta make our way over to the said enemy and just continue moving forward in the stage. It's not a good spot when missiles are being shot at you. That's not wrong, Marina. This is definitely a section where you gotta keep on moving, because when these sponges fully shrink, simply put, that's when you die. Almost died right there as soon as I said that, so that could have ended very poorly. Gonna go ahead and climb up here, just dash my way around because I'm not gonna be dying here today. Just gonna go ahead and fill these things back up a little bit so I can grab me some points on the edge of one of the sponges. If I wait here a moment, he's gonna be able to shoot me, but there's a ceiling above, so he misses. Works out for me. Now we need to get to the missile opticopter here. So let's go ahead and make our way over by shooting these said targets, but can't really reach that one from here. We did get ourselves a splat bomb, so now we can actually use bombs to our advantage, which will help in certain situations, but for right now, I don't really find much of a use for the bomb just yet. Here, we're just gonna wait it out, and now let's chuck that bomb at our copter friend. Go ahead, climb up, shoot him in the face a couple times, and with that, we're done. Let's go ahead and take this launcher and get out of here. Before we leave, though, I do want to admire the background because we got a bunch of Nintendo GameCubes just floating around here in the level. Got some GameCube controllers, got some mini DVDs, which was the disc choice for the set GameCube, and even got Game Boy players attached. So this is a nice little retro throwback here to one of Nintendo's older systems. You'll be seeing this every once in a while in some of these levels. There's a bunch of different objects that relate to real world things, and maybe it could even be an Easter egg for something of Nintendo's legacy. But with that, we're done from Ink from Above Station, so let's go ahead and head back to our train. You have now unlocked 5 lines. You can view them on the Deep Sea Metro map. All the 4 things can be found here. Try searching on a different line. I'd like to offer you a reward for finding this new line. Please pay me a visit. Well, let's go ahead and pay the guy a visit. How you two doing now? MC Craig in the place to be, y'all! Yo, Ingopolis Square represents one time. Check yourself before you step to my rhymes. Okay. I'll go ahead and just check in with Sea Cucumber, and then I can check on the rhymes later. As a reward for arriving at a new line, allow me to grant you some CQ points. Please accept these 1,000 points. A good chunk of change there. I'll definitely take those points. Now let's go ahead and continue onwards here, but before we do, you know the drill at this point, we got a mem cake. It's not on the B line though. If we go down, it's actually here on the D line. This is a spawn point. Finality's not what it seems. When your end comes, rise up and run. Don't let defeat dissolve your dreams. Those are words to live by. Don't let defeat dissolve any of your dreams. Just keep on pushing forward. Don't let defeat bring you down. In fact, learn from it. And that's what the spawn point here is for. You'll learn from your defeat. You come back and try again. Very symbolic. Nice little design for it. Definitely looks more like one of our cheaper designs though, because you can kind of see a little bit of the seams in this one. It just looks like the paint job's a little more crooked compared to some of the other mem cakes, but it's kind of what you get when you're making a physical item like this into something more of a food form. So it's pretty realistic on that front. But let's go ahead and continue forward here with Step It Up, Breakdance Station. So here we got 2 weapons to choose from, the Tri-Slosher and Burst Bomb, and Flings a Roller. The Burst Bomb and Tri-Slosher combo here is our recommended weapon, so we'll go ahead and pick from this one. You must fight your way through while standing atop breakable platforms. Shooting carelessly is not recommended. Watch your step and try to remember the locations of the sturdy crates. Take care out there. So jumping in, we can kind of get a lay of the land before we can make our way over to the said crates. What the heck is that? I think that's where you'd be fighting from. Yeah, it looks pretty dangerous, but we were told that there are some sturdy crates here, so there are certain ones that aren't going to be destroyed as easily as others. Starting to land, and now we're done, let's go ahead and jump in. Watch it, blasting ink around willy-nilly will destroy the stuff you can stand on. So, as Cuttlefish says, don't shoot willy-nilly. Take your time with this one and study the land. Now there's more enemies that are spawning. These ones have jets on them, so they're going to move around left and right pretty fast. Again, do not spam your attacks here. Take things slow, as this will make things easier on you. But now we only have one more enemy left, which is going to spawn in the center. Yeah, this guy looks scary. Yeah, I was so scared I had to fall. I'm sorry, he's too much for me. I gotta go. Try this again. He hit the one platform that my last foot was on, so that was unfortunate timing for me. That's the problem with this mission specifically. You can die either because of your own careless actions, or because of a good shot from an enemy breaking the crates below your feet. So, this is one of those hit or miss missions on terms of difficulty. It's going to depend on a multitude of different factors. I find this to be one of the harder ones right now. Wow, that was a really good case in point moment. I find this to be one of our harder missions right now because it's very easy to accidentally kill yourself because you shoot off target here and hit a box that you're standing on or something around your location. So this is kind of a difficulty spike at this point, but the thing with Octo expansion is that you can pick your path here. You can go wherever you want in any of the lines. As long as you're making your directions to the four things in some way, then you can take whatever path you want to get to these missions. You don't have to do every single mission here in all the lines. We will be doing it for the sake of this playthrough, but you don't need to if you don't want to, which is a really nice thing about this DLC. But now we can go ahead and continue forward, but let's make our way back into Breakdance Station, because now we want to go ahead and try the mission again, this time just using the Flings-a Roller. The big difference here between the two weapon types isn't just the weapon itself, it's the fact that this roller has no bombs whatsoever. So you're just using the Flings-a Roller here and nothing else. In some ways, I do kind of find this weapon to be a little bit easier though to use compared to the Tri-Slosher itself. Maybe because of how the Flings-a does a lot more damage, and sometimes also it doesn't do as much. It really just depends on your role, hence the nature of a Flings-a. If you're doing the vertical fling, it does more damage than the horizontal one. But I find it a little bit easier to kind of just take out enemies in one shot just like so. The Tri-Slosher, I have to hit enemies multiple times, which causes me to destroy more of the platforms around me. So in a way, I actually kind of recommend using the Flings-a Roller for that mission instead. That one's done. We're ready to go ahead and continue on, but first things first, it's a mem cake. It's a tentacle mem cake. Wow. That's interesting. That's very basic. How desolate this star-marked limb is what awaits me in this same fate. I must not dwell. It's much too grim. You really can't think about how you're gonna meet your end, because that is very, very dark. A little too real at times, if you ask me, in a children's video game. I guess the tentacle here is gonna represent you getting splatted at that point, mainly with the star in the center being the point of attack. Symbolic on that front, very dark on another. But now we went ahead and we completed some of the levels here on line B. We go ahead and continue forward here, and we also unlocked another path leading to line D. So I think we made a good amount of progress here. So with that, we're going to go ahead and call things here. Next time, let's play Splatoon 2 Octo expansion. We'll go ahead and continue exploring the B line here of the Deep Sea Metro. I'll see you guys next time.